A couple weeks ago, I seen Gloomcraft's video about how to save data in verse without using the save device. So I thought, okay, cool. Now I need to think of something to where I can use this. So I sit down and write my game, all kinds of code, right? And I thought this can't be so bad. So I watch this video a few times, I look at the code, and I start trying to do this myself. And I am embarrassed to admit it took me a really long time. I was going over this, and I was going over the verse documentation, and part of me was tempted to just give up and put the save device in, because I'm like, technically I could just use the save device, but I knew if I didn't figure this out, I would just get left behind by everybody who did figure it out. So I had to keep at it. And that's why I want to make a tutorial about this too, because for my specific code, weirdly enough, trying to integrate the spawners made it really, like, the way my code is written, the spawners can't really be a good like anchor point, because the way I'd written my code, the spawners kind of have to be spawned in teams, so it wouldn't work so well for this purpose. So I thought, you know what? There's got to be other people who will have this problem. Maybe they can't use spawners for whatever reason, so maybe they want to come down from the sky, or maybe they need to use something else. To get started, I am going to, okay, so to start out, I am just going to untag the spawner to make sure we're not using it by mistake. Okay, so now I'm just double checking. I made sure that I commented out everything that would make the save device to make it run properly. So I I untagged the save, or I untagged the spawners, and I commented out everything that would initialize the memory and the spawners. I just commented out for right this minute just to show that it doesn't in fact save anymore or do anything or have any UI on the screen, just so that we can kind of start over, I guess. Not completely, but start over. Okay. So now I'm going to make sure to end game. Okay. So now the first thing is that now that now that we're not going to init spawners anymore, see how the spawners, it's you're subscribing to the spawners here, then it's going on to on player spawned. So now here in on player spawned, going to do it's going to loop through, and it's going to, within here it adds the player data, and then it spawns to the UI. That's where it shows on the screen. This is where it's updating when it had the little green, how much gold was on the screen, so it's updating to there. Okay, so now instead of using the spawner and then clicking to on player spawned here, I'm going to, within player data class itself, so this is the player data class that's saving the gold, and then this is the constructor that is used to initiate the player data, and then the weak map here data is used to access all of this. So right here we have all of that. So now what I'm going to do basically is I'm going to put this logic inside of our player data class. So I'm going to do that. Okay, so now that this logic is inside this player data, we have to access it. So now instead of the spawners accessing it here, so we access on subscribe on player spawn. So instead of that, this logic here, this all players, and then doing the whole spawn thing, I'm gonna make an init players function. I'm gonna steal this actually, because we still need the all players play space thing. So I'm gonna copy that and comment it out here. And then I'm gonna make an init. I'm just gonna make an init players function. So I'm gonna do so. Okay, so I made an init players function. Actually, I should capitalize that to make it look better. Init players function, and it goes through all the players. And then this non-player spawned play, I named it non-spawner playway. That's just the data player data here that we made here. So, yeah, I just made a blank player data and then we just assigned it. So this non-spawner player way, I just named it that. And then we're gonna initialize, I can't even talk tonight. Initialize all players, and then it's gonna go through here and do these for us through there. So that was like how before when you did on player spawn and it did this here, it's doing that. So okay. So I'm gonna save this. Okay, so then here in our main function, I can really delete all this actually. I'm actually just going to remove this because I didn't actually find a way to do that this way yet, so I'm just going to delete it just so it's not confusing in here. Okay, then I'm going to do init players here. Okay, so init players, so that init players is going to replace this init players. That's going to replace init spawners and on player spawned. So, but really quick, if we get rid of this on player spawned, so now we still need this, right? Because we didn't, so this spawn here, now since we're going to delete this, I need to put that into our increase gold and decrease gold. So I think I can just copy and paste this if I remember. So copy, so copy and paste, so copy, and then paste both of these, I guess. And then for increase gold and for decrease gold, okay, control V, okay, there we go. So now that means, hopefully if I did everything right, we can just delete these. And we can delete this, I think so, because I'm not using the spawners anymore. Hopefully it's not somewhere else, but okay. So let's see if I save this and compile. No errors. Okay. So now let's run it and see if it's gonna work. Okay, let's see what it does. Okay, so now to check that it works, so yes, coins are increasing, decreasing. Okay, so now the real test is to see if we exit and see if it saves our coins. Restart the game. Yay, our coins saved. Okay, so yeah. So basically, this is like a non-spawner way that I found to use the save the persistence inverse. So the steps were basically just to put the logic here within the class. I just called it initialize all players, and then and then made one for each player. It'll loop through and make one for each player using our weak map here. And then that way you don't have to worry about having spawners. So make sure to leave any likes or comments on my video. If you have any questions or anything you want to see for a tutorial, let me know. I'm currently working on a game. It's gonna be like a mini Sudoku Bed Wars game. It basically, I'm still working on it now, but I'm basically trying to make a game where I have to learn a lot of new skills in verse. That's usually when I make games, as I'm trying to figure out all kinds of new skills in verse to make them, but also make them fun to play. In this, you can't tell, but there could be up to 4 players, and they're all going to have their own boards, and you'll basically earn, like, by solving. I'm still in testing phase, so I'm just gonna cheat and get a bunch of hints to solve this board. But basically, when you solve boards, you get gold and building supplies, and there's gonna be vending machines to buy stuff and everything. Yeah, so I'm hoping it'll be lots of fun, but I'm still working on it.